Good evening, my beloved children. This is your Dr. Jimmy. At last. Oh, it's been such a long time since I've been able to enjoy your acquaintance. I believe it was back around April 1st when I did my annual fuckery. I really shouldn't use such words anymore. If I ever want this to become a, professional YouTube channel with all the trappings and frills and lights and flashes and all of the things that they have nowadays on the tube, I really have to avoid using such filthy language. Oh my goodness, hello Lenny. Of course she's here, my baby, my angel, my little pussums. You're such a good kitty. Anyway, yes, I have to refrain from using the dreaded F-bomb. Oh, yes. Speaking of which, if there are any nice, lovely young people out there who are skilled in the art of, editing and video making and that sort of thing, maybe we should get together and collaborate. And maybe I can make this into a real YouTube channel with all the flashy stuff that I just don't know how to do because I'm an old, F word. Oh dear. Oh well. It might be worth our while. Maybe we could even monetize the darn thing and, Oh, I could have a pension for my old fat self. Anyway. A future possibility. Well, something I haven't done for a way too long. And I know there's a lot of people saying, "What you been doing, Dr. Jimmy? Waiting forever for this shit." Oh dear, I said that word. I have to be careful. Anyway, yes, indeed. It is time for me to resume my glorious cocktail videos. I've had a few already, as you can probably tell. Mostly just sake. Yes, I really like the sake. I'm a weeb. Could you tell from my last April Fool's gag I might have been a bit of a weeb? I was born in Japan and I grew up there, it's part of it. It's part of my DNA, basically. I am 2% Asian, after all. Anyway, where am I? Oh, yes. Amazingly, two bloody years ago, in 2020, when COVID caused the cancellation of Horror Nights, oh, what a dreadful time that was. We did have a couple of houses at the event, but only during daytime hours, and oh, what a pain in the butt it was to try to get into those with all of the... You had to get on the internet in advance on the app while you were at the park and put in for your time as soon as you got there, and we didn't know anything about it when Jackie and I went there the first time in October 2020 and found out after we bought our tickets and all the stuff and paying so much money going into the park, oh, it's already done for the day, we can't get in. Oh, it was so terrible, but we ended up eventually being able to do the two houses that were available during regular park hours but not after hours. They didn't have a Horror Nights in 2020 after all. So we did do and then of course the final weekend of October, Halloween weekend, there was a third house added, Beetlejuice. Yes, wonderful. All three houses came back in 2021. In fact, they never tore them down. Indeed, 9 of the 10 houses were left up all year round. I'm told it was a Billie Eilish house in the Shrek Secondary Theatre, was of course never fully realized because the whole deal fell through. But it didn't matter, they cancelled 2020 anyway. And so when 2021 came around, they built a whole new house with Boris Schuster, and dear Lord, that was such good and wonderful house. As much as I really would have loved to see the Billie Eilish thing, the Boris Schuster house more than made up for it, as I'm sure a lot of you agree. That was splendid, so splendid. Especially those of us who enjoyed all of those interactive activities back in the day. Oh, all the horror unearthed and legendary truth events over the decades. That just was a capper to all of that. Rick, wherever you are, God bless you and thank you for what you did for us. Requiem in pace. My beloved Rick Spencer. Anyway, such a nice kitty. That's a good kitty. Anyway, glorious. Wonderful time last year with that. But 2 years ago, in 2020, we had 2 and then eventually 3 haunted houses. That was it during the what's sometimes called Halloween Horror Days or Horror Night Lights. Not really Horror Night at all because the event had been cancelled. It was just we did have a few haunted houses available during daylight hours, regular park hours at the event. Not the event at all, actually, but you know, a little something in the tribute store. That was it for 2020. But one of the haunted houses that was available for us, seen through glass and masks, was Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. And at the time I thought, you know, maybe I should do a cocktail video for this. And God help me, I swear to God, this is absolute truth. My first thought was a tiki drink. A tiki drink themed to the Bride of Frankenstein. And why did I think of that? Well, it's very simple. Because I had just gotten one of these. I mean, I had this Bride of Frankenstein tiki mug. So, of course, a Bride of Frankenstein tiki drink. It just made sense. So I was going to do that, but oh dear, I didn't have any lighting available, and any video I tried to do would have looked like this. And that's why it was a problem. And so I thought maybe Jackie can just film me in the kitchen in the other room making the cocktail with my iPhone, but there was some problem with that. It wouldn't take. It just didn't have the battery to sustain the video of a correct length for a cocktail. It just couldn't happen. So I was screwed. Oh. So I thought, well, oh well. And then it turned out the house was going to happen the following year anyway. Which it did, because except for that one allegedly Billie Eilish house, and that was replaced with Boris Schuster, every other one of the haunted houses that had already been predicted by, you know, they get, it's leaked so bloody early every year now. It's just like, there's no point in any speculation or cryptic clues anymore because you find out what the whole diggly darn thing is going to be way early. I mean, even my April Fool's gags are kind of redundant because they've already leaked the whole thing before I even get a chance to make a joke about what it's supposed to be. Oh, well. But they went ahead and every 9 of the 10 houses that had been predicted in 2020 were there in 2021, with Boris Schuster added as the last one. And so all those lovely houses were built and had been sitting there for over a year. Now, 3 of them we saw at the event, of course. The Bride and the Tooth Fairy and Beetlejuice, and the 4th one we saw, but not in person. We saw it on the internet because they showed on YouTube a lovely video for the Puppet Theater. But the other houses besides that all were there the whole time, all year round, just sitting there in their various locations waiting for us until 2021 came around and they actually had a Horror Nights last year, thank God. And it turned out to be quite spectacular. I enjoyed last year very much. And 2022's event, the one that's coming up in, just a little over a week. I have not had this amount of anticipation for an event since I don't know when. It looks as good as any event we've ever had since, I don't know, 2008? Maybe even earlier. My goodness, I am so hyped for this year. It's silly. I've never been so excited for an event for such a long time. Oh my. I'm really excited about this coming event. Everything I've heard so far just gets me to... Oh my word. I'm just glad to have lived this long to see it, because I'm just delighted about what we're going to enjoy in just a very short period of time. But anyway, I decided to do a tiki drink for Bride of Frankenstein back in 2020, but I couldn't do it. And then last year the event happened and the house was there without the glass and not so many masks, and I thought, well, this is lovely. It is quite nice. Let's do the... But I still didn't have adequate lighting, and then I bought a light at IKEA or something, somewhere. No, it wasn't IKEA. I didn't get any meatballs, so it wasn't IKEA. It was Target. So I got this light at Target, but I didn't have a light, and you still had to assemble the diddly darn thing. It was just, oh dear. When I finally got the thing put together and got a light bulb in it, it was well past 2021 and into this year. And was I going to do a video eventually? I suppose. And then they started putting clues out for this year's event and then leaks, and I thought, oh, the heck with it. And then something else happened. I don't like talking about my health in public very often, but I might as well say it. There was... I was diagnosed earlier this year with a health condition that made consuming any sort of calorie, especially sugars, well, it was diabetes. Let's just call it what it was. COVID, I sat around and ate like a pig after COVID, and I lost my husband, and I just was living terribly and smoking too much and doing too many stupid things. And sitting around drinking too much and eating too much, and I got way too fat. I got I was already fat, but I became morbidly obese, and next thing you know, I go to my physician and find out, hey, guess what? You joined the diabetes club. But it can be reversed. Well, sort of. You'll never not be diabetic, but you can reverse it and get your A1Cs down to a normal range, but it means losing a lot of weight and dieting very heavily. So I couldn't really be drinking, and making these sort of lovely cocktail tiki drinks was out of the question. I didn't eat. I actually stopped drinking Diet Pop. There's no calories or sugars in Diet Pop, but they trick your brain into thinking you've had more sugar than you've had, you see. And you don't gain weight from drinking diet soda, but you actually don't lose any weight very much as when you're drinking it. When I stopped drinking Diet Mountain Dew, the weight started falling off like leaves in autumn. I've lost 40 pounds since April, and I am quite grateful to all the powers that be that I have. Yes, I've started going back to church rather religiously. I mean, what else would you call it? Yes, I know some people look at me askance, but it's helped tremendously with all of this. And I am now doing much better, and my A1C is in a normal range. So, now I can enjoy a couple of tiki drinks. So long as I don't do it all the time every day. I have to be. Moderation, like a good Buddhist. That's not the religion here. No, I'm an Episcopalian. But one nice thing about being Episcopalian is that you can... Buddhism isn't out of the question entirely. Not like being, you know, a Baptist or something where you say, those heathens are gonna burn in hell. Well, I can't say that because it's not for me to judge. Anyway, there's a lot of value in some of the teachings of different traditions. That's something that we have in the C of E, so to speak. At least I found that in my lifetime. Of course, it could be because the first Episcopal priest that ever taught me were Japanese in Hawaii, so of course they had a wider view about everything. Father Kaneshiro and Father Yoshida back at Iolani in the 70s. God bless them. Anyway, so here we are. This video is getting very strange and in areas. That's why I need some young person to help me edit stuff. Because I have no skills in that. I can't edit to save my life, you know. So this is the sort of thing that is not going to do me well, and I need to get some nice young person who knows all about editing and filming and lighting and production values to help me do those videos that can compete with all of these wonderful professional videos I see out there on the YouTube all the time. I'd like to be really cool, like, you know, Chris Broad's videos from Japan. Get my own ramen shop out here. Oh, well. Anyway. So here I am. But that was part of it. I did indeed plan a tiki drink for this Universal Classic Monsters house. The official name of the house was Universal Classic Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives! Back 2 years ago. And then the house actually happened in 2021. But again, as I was saying, couldn't do it. And then earlier this year, diabetes, couldn't do it. But now I can do it. And now, of course, they've announced this year's event where we have another Universal Classic Monsters house in addition to the one they had 2 years ago and last year as well. And that is Universal Classic Monsters, or Universal Monsters Legends Collide, which features Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy. All three of them. Well, we've had Dracula and the Wolfman meeting in the cinema many times. I think the first time they met was in House of Frankenstein. Then they met in House of Dracula. Then finally in that wonderful film, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. But the Mummy didn't show up in any of those movies. But here at the Magic of Horror Nights, as we can have Dracula and poor cursed Larry Talbot, that poor cursed bastard, plus the Mummy himself, but not Imhotep Mummy, but Keris Mummy. They're very clear to say this is the Lon Chaney Mummy, not the Boris Karloff Mummy. This is Keris, the Mummy that first appeared. I think it was a fellow named Tim Tyler or Thomas Tyler or something. I can't remember his name. I think he played Captain Marvel. I know you're thinking Captain Marvel's a lady, but the original Captain Marvel is the person that what's his name? Levi? Shazam. Okay. The character that's now called Shazam in the comics was originally Captain Marvel back in the 40s, and then there's a whole convoluted thing about that. I'm not even going to begin with that. But the original Captain Marvel was played in the movies, the serial, the chapter play serials, and so every week you'd go to the cinema and see a new chapter, just like a TV program. But it was no one had a television yet, except if you went to the World's Fair in 1939. So it's like TV. What most humans didn't have them even in their houses at that point because they were so expensive and so new. But you could go to the cinema on the weekends whenever you went, and there'd be a chapter play. So each week there'd be a new chapter in this serial, you see. And there were serials that were done, usually in black and white, and a lot of them featured comic book characters like Batman and Superman and Jungle Jim or somebody. What was his name? The Jungle guy was a DC character. There was also Captain America had his own serial back in those. Flash Gordon had one as well. Well, there was one for Captain Marvel, and it featured an actor who later played the Mummy, who was the second actor to play the Mummy after Boris Karloff, but his mummy wasn't Imhotep, it was Karis. And then I think his name was Tom Taylor or Tim Tyler or something like that. I could go stop and get my phone and look it up, but I'm doing the video now and I don't want to stop and start it and that because I'm not very good. I don't know how to edit. That's why I need someone to help me with the editing. So anyway, as I was saying, petting cat again. She's just right there. Just right there. Hopefully she'll come over into camera range so we can see her adorable little kitty face. You silly kitty. Silly kitty. So just come over a little bit further. Just right outside of range. You silly puss. She's such a silly. Okay, I'll do this. She will hate it because she doesn't like being hoisted. Ta-da! She hates that. She hates being picked up. Poor kitten. Oh, poor kid. Just like Bob. Couldn't stand being picked up. I don't know why it was with the cats not wanting to be picked up. I used to have a cat who loved being picked up. It was Kitty Francesca. But she passed away before we had this kind of technology. So you never got to see her. Oh, poor. She died around 2000, 2001. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Back then I still had dial-up. It would take me 12 years to make a video with that. Oh my word. Where was I? I don't remember. See, that's what happens when I drink before I start a video. Something about the mummy. Oh yes. So, the mummy, Karis. That's the mummy that was featured and most famously portrayed by Lon Chaney, who of course was the original Wolfman and later had played Dracula a couple times, and Son of Dracula, and also he played everyone. He was the Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, and the Wolfman. He was every Universal Classic monster practically back in the day. It's rather spectacular what he was able to do. Well, of course, when the Mummy never met the Wolfman in the movies. When Dracula and Frankenstein, the Wolfman, met, he only played the Wolfman because no one else got to play the Wolfman except him. And that character was owned by Lon Chaney back in those days. Good for him. You know, other people played Dracula. In addition to Bela Lugosi, there was Lon Chaney played him, and also John Carradine. And Frankenstein was played by Boris Karloff, and also by Glenn Strange, and also Lon Chaney. And the Mummy was played by Boris Karloff originally, and this Tim Tyler fellow, and then of course Lon Chaney. But the Mummy never really met the other classic monsters. Never. And even when the monsters met Abbott and Costello, the Mummy wasn't there. The Invisible Man showed up at the end of it, and it was Vincent Price as the Invisible Man. He was the second Invisible Man after the first one, Claude Rains. He showed up at the end of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Well, he didn't really show up. You couldn't see him at all, but you could hear him. Sounded kind of familiar, that Vincent Price voice. As someone does a very bad impression of him. Oh dear. But as for the Mummy, when the Mummy showed up for Abbott and Costello, it was in his own movie. None of the other guys were there, and it wasn't even Karis, it was Clarice. Clarice? Oh well, that's the history of Universal Horror for you. But now at Universal Studios, Florida and Hollywood, we get a two-part story. The first part here in Orlando and the second part in Hollywood. Like I have a chance to go over to the West Coast and see part 2 before it's done. No, I don't. So I just have to look at walkthroughs on the YouTube, I guess. But at any rate, they will tell the story in 2 parts, starting here and then ending over John Murdy's thing on the West Coast. God bless John Murdy. But here we are. And we're going to have the Wolfman and Dracula and the Mummy encountering each other like they never did ever in the movies. Except for the Monster Squad. That wasn't even a Universal production. It was just, you know, an homage. Oh well. But so, we have now a Universal Monsters house this year as well. So, what am I going to do? I decided when I heard about Legends Collide a while back, because that was one of the first ones we heard about. Oh heck, I'll do a tiki drink for that one too. In fact, let's do a tiki drink for both. I mean, after all, I don't have a Wolfman or a Mummy tiki mug yet. I do have a Dracula tiki mug. So I'll do a tiki drink for that one as well. Let's do a tiki drink for both houses, the one from last year and the year before, and the one for this year. That way, all the Universal Monster haunted houses from 2020 to 2022 in one video with tiki drinks. Isn't that fun? And wouldn't you know it, I'd already decided to do that when suddenly it appears. I don't know for sure. I certainly hope it is the case. But Dead Coconut Club? Are they actually going to do a Universal Monsters Tiki Bar at City Walk this year to coincide with and to be a part of the event? Looks like it may be. God bless you, Skipper Haas. Thank you, all of you wonderful people at Horror Nights. If this is what's really happening, and there really will be a tiki bar for Universal Monsters at the event, well, actually outside the event over in City Walk, the Dead Coconut Club. Oh, joy! It excites me so much, and I had already planned to do tiki drinks for Universal Monster-themed houses for 2 separate, well, 3 if you count the Horror Nights Light or Horror Days or whatever you call 2020's non-event. Well, it's the same house that they did eventually in 2021, so yeah. So let's just get around to it and make the cocktails. So, I'm going to make cocktails then for 2 haunted houses. Bride of Frankenstein Lives and Legends Collide. 2 Universal Monsters houses, and I'm going to make tiki drinks. And they're going to have a tiki bar, I hope, for Universal Monsters. Oh, joy. And it's a good thing, too, because we don't have the Monsters Cafe anymore. Give you the dead-eye stare like I was Don Bluth in one of those nostalgia critic videos. Alright, enough of that. So, let's start with the first one. I have here previously ice already put into a stainless steel cocktail shaker. And I have here a cocktail jigger that's really 2 ounces. And so let's start in on the Bride of Frankenstein drink. So first, let's get a classic ingredient for any tiki drink. here's the thing. The juices I'm going to use tonight after I make the drinks and sample them, I'll probably end up going down the sink. Because even though I've normalized my A1Cs, I can't really mess with that too much. And I've been advised by my sister, the nurse. Good heavens, why can't I get this to open with the... There we go. Even though I've been advised by my sister, the nurse, that I should not drink calories at all. Fruit juices are really healthy and good for you, except if you're like me, in which case you get way too much sugar in your bloodstream at once. So, I will make these drinks, and I will enjoy a little bit of it, but I can't have stuff like this every night. In fact, it'd be a good idea maybe not to finish the drinks, but one thing's for sure, after I'm done, the rest of the juices go down the drain. The liquors go back in the cabinet, but the juices go down the drain because they're not going to keep long enough for me to finish them, because I really can't drink. Oh my God, excuse me. I need to get a napkin or something because I just poured pineapple juice all over everything. Oh dear, be right back. That was silly. That was way too silly. Now let's see. See if I can wipe off. I hope I didn't ruin anything. I don't think I got any on my keyboard. Frickin' pineapple juice all over the place. Wipe it up. Those napkins now. Let's start with pineapple juice. So I'm using Dole pineapple juice from a can. That's one, and then the second measure. And for some reason, it just keeps leaking all over the place. Good heavens. Next time I'll get a bottle. Good heavens, I've got everything soaked with pineapple juice. Continue trying to dry it off with this napkin. Oh heavens, my mouse is all sticky. Insert very naughty Disney joke. It's like the old one. Again, well, I'm not monetizing right now, so I might as well, you know, it's like, I didn't say she was crazy, Your Honor, I said she was fucking goofy. Yeah, exactly. Alright, so I've got the pineapple juice in there. Now what? Oh yes. Shuck this up. Banana juice! You don't hear about that very often. Good Lord. Try to loosen it up with the bottle cap. I can't open the bloody thing. Oh, this is exasperating. Once again, I have to leave us. I'll get more napkins to clean up more of that mess, and a device I need that will help me open that bottle. Bloody heck. I apologize. Again, This is where editing would come in so handy. Although I suppose it has its own unique charms to be... But I got this device. This device is very good for opening things. And I can... It doesn't open them, but it loosens them so you can open them yourself. There we go. Now I can open easily this bottle of banana juice. Yes, banana juice is a thing. This is Loser. Loser. No, it's a juice from, I think it's some interesting part of the world. I think it's Belgium or someplace. Yes, Belgium. So it's Belgian banana juice. They also had apricot juice and other things. So this, now I'm going to put some banana juice into... Oh, it pours so much more easier. So I'll put a single measure of the banana juice in here and pour that into my cocktail shaker. Ooh, bananas. And let's see, so I've got pineapple and banana. Did I want to put something else in there? Yes. One other thing. Passion fruit juice. So, see if I can open this motherfucker. Oops. So much for my hoping not to curse too much. Alright, here I'm going to have to put it down so I can pull this thing out. Throw that away. And now pour some passion fruit juice into here. Without spilling everywhere. So a full measure of passion fruit juice in here. I've already got more liquid in here that'll possibly fit in that tiki cup. But that's why I have an extra glass. And I'm all sticky because I just poured juice down my sleeve and everything. Good heavens. I don't mean to get... Oh dear, I'm revealing too much of Jimmy at once. I apologize for that, but it's just poured juice down my sleeve. Sorry about that. Oh good Lord, you don't want to see that. That's terrible. I apologize profusely. Now you know I'm not sober. Oh dear, so I've got these three juices in here. The pineapple, banana, and passion fruit, all in one thing. Because, of course, pineapple is a very staple of tropical drinks. Perhaps the most staple. And passion, of course, Bride of Frankenstein lives was all about passion. And bananas, because she became a mad scientist throughout the course of that. She replaced Dr. Frankenstein himself, became the mad scientist. So she was quite definitely bananas. Quite mad. Quite insane. Now to that I add this lovely liquor. It's Midori, a liqueur, a melon liqueur, which is sweet and glorious. Quite perfect for this sort of thing. And also, of course, the colour of the monster himself. It's a lovely colour green. So for a bit of colour as well as for sweetness, we add a measure of that into our cocktail. Our first bit of liquor, and the strongest bit of liquor now to give it the kick. Not rum, which is normally what we put into a tiki drink, but I'm going to be a bit more eccentric because, hello, and I'm going to put in this wonderful... This is gin, but it's not just any gin. It's Hendrick's Orbium. Yes, Hendrick's Orbium, which is a limited release, made gin with natural flavour. But among the botanicals that are in this are, well, lotus, wormwood, and quinine. So it's like having a gin and tonic without the tonic, because of the quinine, but also lotus and wormwood puts you into a visionary phase. It's like, you know, absinthe. That's what wormwood is, the ingredient in absinthe that gives you the trippiness. The lotus, well, we all know about the black lotus, don't we? The lotus eaters, back the lotopophagi of the Greek classic stories. Oh, the wonderful. So I'm going to pull a full measure of that as well. And this will be our primary kick in the ass liquor in this. Alright, so that's what we have then for our Bride of Frankenstein lives. We have pineapple, 2 measures, a measure of banana, a measure of passion fruit, and then a measure of Midori, and a measure of Hendrix Orbium. And that's what I'm going to be shaking up like a lunatic over here carefully so I don't spill any more of this, because, god damn it, I'm spilling way too much. And this shaker is quite full. And my goodness, so cold. And then after shaking it up a bit, I pour it into this glass so you can see that it's a lovely color that's quite appropriate for the Bride of Frankenstein. And look at that color. It's like toxic waste green. And what a lovely smell. Oh, that is brilliant. That works. Gosh darn, that works. And so you might want to put ice in this first. I'm not. By the way, look at the color inside of it. It matches the color of the drink. This is a lovely Bride of Frankenstein Tiki mug. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. Now I could get a straw to drink it with, or I could get some more ice, but I thought, well, I might as well leave it as it is. You might want to garnish this with like a little one of those little umbrellas, or maybe some pineapple, mango. It would all be quite lovely. This is good. This turned out way better than I anticipated. Damn. That works. Oh my, that works quite well. I do recommend this for you. This is going to schlock me out. It's a good thing there's no church. Well, there is actually a service on Monday mornings at my church. There's a contemplative service early Monday morning. But you know what? They also do the same sort of contemplative service at about 5 o'clock to 6 p.m. on Sunday evenings. And I did that earlier today, so I don't have to worry about missing that tomorrow. So I can drink and miss church tomorrow morning, that's fine. And I'll go back to church on Wednesday at noon. I think I will go to the concert. It's not a service, but there's a concert with lovely organist. I mean, he's like the Phantom of the Opera. He's quite amazing. His name is Ammon, like an Egyptian or something. Ammon Brat. And he's giving a performance at All Saints Church. And yes, that's where I go to church. Do you know one of the Beatles sometimes goes to that church? Paul McCartney has an apartment in Winter Park. And when he's in town, he's been known to drop... I mean, he was raised a Roman Catholic in Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's a conventional Christian by any means. But when he's in town, he drops in at All Saints. He's done that many times in the past, and hopefully he may drop in again. So that's kind of nifty. There's always a chance of seeing him, although not likely, because I don't think his kid still goes to Rollins anymore. That was why he was in town back in the day, when his stepson went to Rollins. So, not likely. But if he does show up, you know, I'll say hello. Of course I will. It's a beetle, for crying out loud. To go to church with a beetle, that's almost as good as my late husband, who once enjoyed a smoke. Let's not go into specifics. A smoke with the beetle. It was Ringo Starr, to be specific, at a bar in the Hotel de Paris in Monte Carlo back in the day. Good heavens, Bill had an exciting life. Where is my mouse? I can't find my mouse. Right. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Did it come back on? Everything went black for a moment because I couldn't figure out where my mouse was. It was right in front of me, but somehow I didn't see it. Good heavens, I haven't even begun to drink this yet. That is really good. I'm quite amazed. So that is my Bride of Frankenstein Lives cocktail. Tiki drink, amazingly enough, in this, as I mentioned. Now, let me just do one thing, and I'll be right back. Oh dear. I remember Matthew Lillard saying you should never say, "I'll be right back." Of course, he was one of the killers in that movie. The cheeky bastard. Be right back. Just have to go rinse out this cup and this glass and that. And the shaker and put more ice in it. So I have returned, having rinsed out this little glass, and oh dear, my robe opened up again, you don't want to see that, and rinsed out this cocktail shaker and put new ice in it, because now, having done the lovely cocktail for the Bride of Frankenstein Lives, there's another Universal Monsters house and another cocktail to make for this year's event, the one that hasn't happened yet. And that's Universal Monsters Legends Collide. So, also a tiki drink, which amazingly enough, even before I realized, because I had decided to do tiki drinks and then I found out, oh my goodness, there's going to be a Universal Monsters Tiki Bar. Maybe. I hope so. At least that's what the implication is by what has appeared on the Tribute store window. And so, in that case, we have to make a cocktail for Legends Collide. A haunted house that deals with Larry Talbot, Vlad the Impaler, and Karis, all colliding over an amulet, apparently, that may give you... Sort of reminds me of episodes of Moon Knight for some reason. I mean, you had a person with a personality disorder, you know, and werewolf, or human, and, you know, the moon is involved, and there's a personality, you know, what they call dissociative disorder, and that's kind of like being a werewolf, except not quite, but similar. And then you also have mummies and Egyptian gods and the whole thing. You just didn't have the Lord of the Vampires involved. But he's in Marvel Comics too, you know. Someday Dracula could show up in the MCU because he is a big deal. And oh, those wonderful episodes or issues where Dracula battled Doctor Strange back in the 1970s. Good Lord, that was so cool. So one of the things I love about my priest at my Episcopal church is he's a huge nerd, and he showed, you know, a slideshow about different things to introduce you to Episcopalian Church, but it included 1970s Marvel Comics panels, you know, panels right out of the comic book of Johnny Blaze and his friend, who was implied by Tony Isabella to be Jesus Christ himself, intervening against Satan. Of course, later on it turned out Satan was actually Mephisto and Jesus was not Jesus, but that was Isabella's intent. Jim Shooter changed it because Jim Shooter didn't want to make it too religious. Jim Shooter's a bit of a dick, to be perfectly honest. But the original intent of the early 70s Son of Satan and Ghost Rider comics was that this was the actual devil from the Bible and not, you know, Marduk or somebody, that they changed it up. Anyway, enough of that. But it's cool to have a priest who'll reference Star Trek or Lord of the Rings or Stranger Things in their sermons. I realize I'm in the right church when they do that. Yes. So, enough of that. Let me continue. Legends collide. What will it be? Well, Dracula, not Frankenstein, he's not here this year. Dracula, the Wolfman, that's Larry Talbot, the Wolfman, and the Mummy. Well, what can I do for a cocktail? Well, I can't have really... Well, I decided then another tiki drink. And this time I'm going to use a slightly different ingredients. Well, for juices, I will start with this. Mango juice. And let's just shake it up. And then this is a good brand of mango juice. I don't know if you can see it because of the light here. There we go. It might help you. There we go. It's mango juice. And I will put some of that. I'll put at least one full measure of mango juice into my shaker. There we go. Ooh, pretty. And then I want to put in guava juice. This is guava juice here. And I will also shake it up. Put some guava juice in here as well. Now the guava's pinkish reddish flesh and as you can see here, it's the color of the juice is more pale. And then I will add passion fruit juice as well, because everyone knows your vampires are quite passionate. So we'll add passion fruit juice as well. So that's a common ingredient to both cocktails. I'm going to not put in any pineapple or banana in this one. But there we go. So a measure of those three fruit juices, mango, guava, and passion fruit. And after those lovely juices, the liquors. Let's wipe off some of that excess. By the way, I still have some of this left. And that is good. Now, this is going to be a very different drink. I'm not going to make a gin drink out of it or a rum drink. I mean something else entirely. Why? Because I've decided the liquor that will be the kick in this drink will be tequila, but specifically Tequila Lobos. Can you guess why? Oh! Yes, indeed. I mean, you know, a haunted house with a protagonist is basically the Wolfman. What else? Tequila Lobos 1707 Reposado. This is really good stuff. I've had other tequilas, and I never would have thought to get this one. Oh, it's not even opened. I never thought to get this one. I was at the ABC store to get something else entirely. They said, "Oh, would you want to do a taste test?" They want you to come over and sample the drink. So I sampled this tequila, and oh my goodness, it was one of the best tequilas I'd ever sampled. I mean, it was so smooth. And just a little, it's like, oh, that's really good. And I could imagine having that with some lime and salt. Of course, that was before my diagnosis. And that's why I never opened the bottle. I'm taking this wrapper off the top. I haven't opened the bottle. I've had this for months and months, but I've never even opened it till now. Because I had to be careful about drinking calories of any sort, or drinking anything with sugars, and alcohol has sugar by definition, even if it doesn't taste sweet, you know. I had to be so careful. But now that my A1Cs are back to normal, I can enjoy this at least on occasion. Not the way I used to. I used to drink like a fish every day. It wasn't drunk, but I could have been if I wanted to be. My word, that smells beautiful. This is a really nice tequila. So I'm going to go ahead and pour a full measure of this tequila Lobos, and then put that in the shaker as well. And it already had, of course, passion mango and passion fruit mango and guava. Now another little ingredient to give it a little something yet mystical that would fit in with Dracula and the Mummy, and I'm putting in something that might fit with that, and that is Creme De Violette, like some of the things that they embalmed mummies with, various flowers. And I'm only going to do a half measure because this is potent. We don't want too much of this. Creme De Violette, which is an essential ingredient for the Aviator cocktail, which is made with gin and Creme De Violette and a couple other things. I forget what all with, but it's very important cocktail. And I prefer when I make one of those to use Ryan Reynolds' Aviator gin, of course. What else? So it's the Creme De Violette, and this is let's see, this is Rothman and Winter from Austria. It's a very good Creme De Violette. So I put a half measure of that because I don't want too much of that, but just enough. Then we shake this bastard up. Shaka, 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 and this will be, good heavens, it's almost been an hour. This is a long video. I may not get this up till tomorrow morning. Is it already after midnight? No, amazingly. It's on the 11:40 p.m. Sugar this up, and then I pour it first here to see what it comes out. Oh my goodness, don't want to leak it. And let's see, this is what it looks. Oh, it's also kind of green. I was surprised. I was expecting it to be more of a pinkish color. Oh, I know what it is. The Creme De Violette and the fruit juices. That's it, because it's a. It looks green on the video, but in real life it looks more of a kind of a yellowish color. But it does have not as green as the other one, but it's. I'm surprised by it. What a nice smell, though, the tequila and all of that. It's a golden tequila, and a little bit of the violette, of course, we know, is this color. It looks, well, it's purple, is what, if you could see it more clearly. If I had a, is there one of those? Do I have a light in here? I thought I had a light in here. I don't see it. Like a little flashlight. I don't see it. But if I held this up behind and had the light behind it, you would be able to see that this is a purple color. It looks dark, but it's a purplish color. So that and the yellow, the golden tone of the of the tequila. Again, you can't really see it so well now, but it's kind of a gold color and a pale gold. In the fruit juices, it does come out sort of greenish, which is a bit surprising because I was expecting it to be more of a goldish green, but expecting it to be more pinkish. But smells wonderful. Let's see what it tastes like. I thought it would taste wonderful, but I haven't actually sampled it ahead of time, and we're going to find it's over an hour now. Oh my, that's quite unique. Oh, it does have that whole tropical thing going for a tiki drink. But again, it's tequila based, so it's a bit different from your average rum, sweet, sugary drink, which I need to avoid anyway, but it's still wonderful. So, let's pour it into its mug. And here it is in its mug, which is a Dracula mug. The same lovely company, I forget what it was called. I have the boxes in the closet somewhere. But they made a bunch of Universal Classic Monsters. No, wait, is it written underneath? I can't quite read it. Let me take a look here. Oh. Oh. Gookie Tikis? Or is it geeky Tikis? Geeky Tikis. Well, whatever they are, they made this whole Universal Classic Monsters series of Tikis several years ago. Geeky Tikis. They've done a lot of other Tikis. I think they have Star Trek Tikis and all sorts of other Tikis. I think there's Chewbacca and Star Wars Tikis. But they're wonderful. Oh, but they also have this Universal Monsters Tikis, and this is the Dracula, Bela Lugosi, of course. I'm sure there's a Wolfman Tiki mug and a Mummy Tiki mug, but I already have the Dracula mug, so I use that one. And this is my Legends Collide drink, which, as I said, has mango, guava, passion fruit juices, in addition to Lobos 1707 tequila. This wonderful tequila. Let me see if you can see the label. Lobos 1707 and Creme De Violette. So that's the ingredients for this one. And you could garnish it with an orchid, or you could garnish it with one of those little paper umbrellas. And if you wanted to put some fruit in it, I would recommend maybe something more lush, like a slice of papaya maybe, or some berries, like you might want to put some blackberries or something more lush and decadent, as opposed to a slice of pineapple, which would go well with the other one, but this one, that's what I would do. Maybe a piece of blood orange would be perfect. Yes, one of those rich, dark burgundy colored orange slices. At any rate, I don't have any of the fresh fruit, but anyway, here is the cocktail. And it's quite marvelous. Of course, you might want to put some lime in it, maybe, because it's a tequila-based drink. But oh, damn, that is really marvelous. I didn't expect it to come off this well. The tequila and the Creme De Violette go quite well with those three different juices. So there we are. So this is the first cocktail video for 2022, but also for 2020 and 2021, because we've covered Bride of Frankenstein Lives, which we had 2 years in a row, the non-Horror Nights year of 2020 and then 2021. And the second Universal, well, not the second Universal Monsters House. We've had those since, oh, bloody hell. There were monsters and there were classic monsters in Fright. There was a Dracula and creature scene, at least in Fright Nights, Dungeon of Terror. And I think some other of the creatures, the classic monsters, were in that house. So we've had the classic monsters since day one at Horror Nights and all that, and even earlier in '86 in Hollywood, in the Terror Tram in Hollywood. It wasn't even called the Terror Tram yet, but it was in 1986. So we've always had the classic monsters at Horror Nights back to the earliest days. But the Horror Nights classic monster houses for 2020, 2021, 2022, all covered in this video. Bride of Frankenstein lives and legends collide. We've had those now. So, doing both years at once. So, next time I do a cocktail video, and if some nice person responds to my plea, I might be a better looking video than this one. Otherwise it might be as... oh, I don't want to... I have to not use so many swears because, again, I'm hoping to do this better. S-H-I-T-T-Y, as this video is, but nevertheless, if we could do it, we might have for the Tooth Fairy, the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, whatever it was called in 2020 as well as 2021, and this year a house called Bugs Eaten Alive. So we'll do a sweet sticky candy themed video which features the Tooth Fairies, sticky sweet candy, and of course this year we have sticky sweet candy that attracts bugs. There's a scare zone themed to candy in a very big way this year, but we're not doing scare zone videos for cocktails yet. Will I get to scare zone cocktails for both 2021 and 2022? Maybe, but I'm not promising. But I'll try to do all the houses for both of those. So I'll try to do both Tooth Fairy and Bugs Eaten Alive next time. Something sweet and sticky featuring candy and bugs in my next video. 2 cocktails again. 2 cocktails the price of one, a video that hopefully won't be an hour long like this one. I apologize for those of you with short attention spans, but I better call this quits because it's already been over an hour 8 minutes. Holy mackerel, I don't think I've ever done one that long before. God bless you all. May the Lords of Horror Nights swoop down and give you terrible nightmares that you will enjoy immensely because you're as twisted as I am. Cheers. Cheers for queers and cheers for fears. Now see you next time with something else intoxicatingly terrible.